Hey, Kevin Baas here, Baas Metalcraft Vintage Bike Addiction. Again, we're walking through my show, Wild Turkey Customs Baas Metalcraft Vintage Bike Show, Doherty's Tavern, Prior Lake, Minnesota, second annual. Holy cow, did we get a turnout of old bikes. There are so many cool bikes here. Panheads, Flatheads, Knuckleheads, you name it, they're here. Old Sportsters, Ironheads. We got British bikes, man. We got metric bikes, we got drag bikes, we got everything you can think of, shovelheads. And we're kind of walking around looking at the different variances of these bikes, what makes things cool. And this bike here caught my eye right away. This thing is an amazing, amazing bike, and it's amazing for a number of reasons. The owner, Jerry, over here, I got Jerry, taking a look at your 36 here, my friend. So Jerry owns this 36, and what's crazy cool about a 36 Knuckle is the first year the overhead valve Harley did. They're very collectible, very hard to find parts for. All the big dollar bikes you see are, pre-war Knuckles, and the 36 is the creme de la creme. And to see one like this, polished cases in a chopper, how cool is that, Mike? This thing gives me goosebumps, man. It does, it does. So why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about the bike, when you built it, point out some of the things you made, and just give us the story of this thing.
I worked with a guy in the 1960s. His name was TM. And he was going to go out to California, but he was selling off some of his stuff. And I says, what do you got? He says, well, come on out to my shop, he says, and I'll show you something. And this had been laying on its side for 10 years in a chicken coop. And it had all the trimmings with it.
Yeah.
And so I picked the thing up, and I just really fell in love with the old Knucklehead. So I says, TM, I says, how much you want for it? He says, 150 bucks.
Oh, man.
That was a lot of money back then. And okay, so went back and got a trailer and slid it in the back of the trailer, and I took it home, and I took it where I worked, sprayed it down with solvent and cleaned it up good enough.
Get all the chicken poop off it?
Yeah, because I had it in my dad's garage and he kicked it out. So I cleaned it up and I took it apart and I started on it and cleaned up the frame and started on the engine and took the lower end over to Belmont Harley, and there was a guy named Dick there, an old guy, and I brought the lower end in and set it on the bench, and he come out and he says, where did you get that? I says, that's my 36. He says, I know what that is. He says, I had one of those new in 36.
Wow, cool.
Wow, he says, you want that rebuilt? I says, yeah. Okay, he says, you come back in about a week, and he says, I'll have it ready for you.
Only a week, huh? Wow, that's service.
He really took a liking to the 36. Yeah. So I brought the cylinders in, and they bored it, and I do the head work on it myself. So I fixed up the heads. And then I had it ready to go over to the painter. And I forget the painter's name right now, I'll think of it. But he did a lot of custom work for Rod and Custom magazine. So I give it to him. I went in the military. And I spent a tour over in Vietnam and then in other places in the Orient. When I come home, he had it all painted for me.
Beautiful.
So I took it, and so I started putting it together. And about 1971, I kicked her over.
Nice.
And took a few kicks to get her going. But
it's beautiful. There's a lot of custom pieces on this one, I can tell. Tell us a little about what you did to make some of this stuff.
A lot of this stuff is all handmade.
Tell me about this cool brass headlight bracket.
This is all made from straight round brass stock. And I would heat it and bend it, and I learned how to weld brass. It's kind of like welding aluminum. You got to watch the temperatures. But I made that because that was kind of the style back then. And
that thing is amazing. I love it. What about these front springer legs here? Tell me about that.
Just as an experiment, I took some copper water pipe and split it in the back, and it snapped over that perfectly, so it's a cover.
Oh, very cool.
But I like the color of brass and copper, so it was an experiment. and I put them on there.
So how many years have you owned this bike?
55 years.
55 years, and this thing looks like it's brand new right off the chopper, showroom. Like, you kept it so pristine and so nice. How do you do it? What's your secret?
I rebuild it every year.
Every year, all right, I love it, I love it. Well, we can't thank you enough for bringing it out here, man. You're a good man. We're talking about how this is a brotherhood of old bike lovers, and to see a 36 Knuck chopper like this just gives me goosebumps, man. So thank you.
They're fun.
Yeah,
thanks.
Appreciate it. And we're at the Wild Turkey Custom Bass Metalcraft Vintage Bike Show. Amazing lineup of old bikes. We're walking around, we're looking at stockers, choppers, man, you name it. And man, sometimes a bike just stands out and it just catches your eye. And like this 37 UL, look at this thing. Unrestored, beautiful, original paint bike. It's amazing. And I think the guy that owns it might be right here, Jason Shovert.
How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, man?
Good, good.
Thanks for bringing the bikes. He's
Absolutely,
a beautiful one.
Absolutely. Where do you want me here? Over here?
Well, you know what? We
want to sit on the back?
Yeah, right. So Jay and I have ridden together for many, many years. We got a lot of road trips under our belt, a lot of good times, a lot of memories. We've been building bikes, swapping parts, swapping lives, making history. But this is a bike that Jay just put together, man, and it's an amazing, amazing bike. You're gonna see some really rare, unique things that he's gonna tell you about on this bike.
Yeah. So we can start off up here. We got what's odd about this bike in 1937. It was a competition with Harley and Indian, and they came out to challenge with Harley to challenge with Indian. They wanted to come up with the right side shift. So this is unique to all the other original bikes here. We have a right hand shift, left hand throttle. Not a bike you drink a lot of alcohol with and ride home, but it's a fun little bike. It's got rare little beauty spotlights on it. An accessory buddy seat that was from the 20s. This went all the way up into the 50s, but you don't see a lot of these.
You barely ever see those. These are
very
so
neat
rare.
little
That's
thing.
hen's teeth there.
Very neat little thing. You got an upsweep exhaust on it. Solid bike. I found this bike in town about 2 years ago and had to put it back together. And new neighborhood, new houses being built, and guy wanted me to restore a bike for him, and I ended up working deals out and ended up with this basket case and put it together.
Man, you got so many cool things, man. I mean, that right side tank shift blows my mind. Yeah. But like, even like the exhaust, like tell us about the exhaust in that center stand. Like that looks rare.
It's it's an old police style upsweep exhaust. You don't see much of them out there, and I found it and I thought it was a really unique piece to this machine.
That's awesome.
You don't see these hanger straps like that too often.
No.
Rear stand is a really kind of a rare thing. It's a 36, 37 only, and what you see here is it's a round tubed rear stand compared to a flat pressed stamped steel one.
Really cool. All right, man, it's a beautiful bike, Jay, and I know you and I, we're going to take some road trips,
aren't we? Absolutely. This is one that needs to go.
Let's run these down to Milwaukee or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, ride them, don't hide them.
Ride them, don't hide them. That's where it's at. Love it, brother.
Absolutely, yeah.